So ideally, the goal is to try to pull as much as possible with your back. You want to, you know, take your biceps out of the equation and try to pull as much with your back as possible. So in order to get that sort of engagement, you have to really practice it. The thing that really works for me is try to pull back with the elbow and with the shoulder so that I could get a good engagement in my back. And then we supersetted that with the shoulder raises. We did a 3-second negative there. And ideally, I'm just trying to eliminate my traps from the movement and just try to use my shoulders purely so that I could get, you know, the most shoulder engagement possible. So I like to start off with the one-arm dumbbell row because it gives me the opportunity to basically go as heavy as possible as I want on it. So to me, I treat this like a compound exercise in a sense. So I'll start off with pretty much, personally, I think it's the toughest exercise. So I'll start off with the toughest exercise and, you know, try to use as much weight as possible with maintaining good form and maintaining the rep ranges and tempo. So pretty much I'll start off with that, because if I start off realistically with pull-ups, bodyweight pull-ups, and then I go into a one-arm dumbbell row trying to maintain a 2-second negative, realistically I'm gonna have to lower the weight. There's no question, because just by that time I get to that exercise, my back will already be fatigued. So ideally you want to start off with what's, you know, the hardest exercise of the session. So the lateral raises, like I said, just trying to eliminate my traps, and just trying to keep all the tension in my shoulders. And being seated helps because it helps eliminate the amount of momentum you use, so it keeps more tension on the muscle. So next up here, we had the neutral grip pull-ups. We did 4 sets of 8, and we included a 2-second negative in there. So I'm really trying to emphasize that 2-second negative as I'm doing these pull-ups. And we supersetted that with a one-arm dumbbell lateral raise. So basically trying to do the same thing I'm doing with the pull-ups, same approach. Trying to isolate the muscle as much as possible. Trying to keep that 2-second negative. The only difference is we're doing 10 reps instead of 8. So definitely just try to, you know, get a weight that you know you're going to be able to do for those amount of reps and with that certain tempo, because usually when you grab a heavier weight and then you try to follow through with that tempo, what tends to happen is you use too much momentum to perform the movement. So obviously, you know, it's not as optimal using the heavier weight. So, you know, if you want to use heavier weight, you have to work your way up to it, and it takes time. But yeah, I mean, definitely just, you know, you'll get stronger over time. Just, you know, if you have to start from the bottom, it's fine. If, you know, you have to follow that tempo and those reps and all the sets and stuff like that. So, you know, it takes time to work up to. So with the pull-ups, I didn't get the 8 reps I wanted to get. I got 7 for some of the sets, like the last 2 sets, which is okay. But if you're in the same situation that happens to you, you don't get the last rep on a pull-up, what I would do is just, you know, jump down basically from the pull-up bar, wait like 10 seconds, and then as you're jumping up to the pull-up bar, instead of actually trying to perform the pull-up itself, just try to jump all the way up with your biceps. Like, basically, you're already at the top of the movement, if you know what I mean. And then lower yourself down with that 2-second negative. And that's it. I wouldn't really do more than that, because you don't want to injure your biceps if, you know, they're going to take over if your back is super fatigued. So just jump up right away, as if you have already basically done the concentric part of the movement and then lower yourself down on the eccentric. Or you could just use an assisted pull-up machine. That's another option to try to basically, uh, you know, make sure that doesn't happen. So, definitely just trying to stick to the tempo here. You know, if this is your first time doing this exercise, just, you know, try to think about really not using momentum for the shoulder raises, you know, because it will, you just won't keep as much tension as you want on the actual shoulder. Instead, you'll start to move the tension onto your traps, and you know, other muscles will start to engage. So, you know, that's the one thing with shoulders. You have to really focus on where you're placing the tension, because it could, you know, easily go somewhere else if you're not really thinking about it as you're performing the exercise. So make sure you really think about it when you're doing it. So yeah, I mean, there wasn't really much to this. Just really trying to push with intensity, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there's nothing really crazy about it. But make sure you're doing this workout with intensity. That's one thing. A lot of people, you know, they will go in, just perform the movement, and they won't really perform the exercises with enough intensity. So make sure you're performing the exercises with a good amount of intensity. So next superset we had was the machine lat pull down. So we did 3 sets of 8 to 10 on that, and we supersetted it with a seated machine lateral raise. 3 sets of 8 reps with a 3-second negative. Now on the lateral raise, the first superset I did with it, I didn't really maintain the tempo I wanted to, so after I saw the footage, I told myself that I need to maintain the tempo as much as possible in the upcoming sets. So make sure you look back. If you have someone to record you, make sure, you know, you can get them to record you and see how you actually perform the exercise. Because for me, when I would see a recording of myself doing an exercise and I would see it on camera, it would actually help me kind of judge how, like, basically would help me make changes. Like, okay, I need to change this, you know, one arm's higher than the other, the tempo is too fast, I'm not following the tempo. So my point is, just try to look back at the footage, see what you could fix, and see what could stay the same. There might be something that, you know, you don't have to completely change altogether. So make sure you can get, you know, I mean, if you have the opportunity, get someone to record you, and it will help a lot for sure. So as we get to these exercises, it gets tougher, obviously. I mean, over time, it's definitely, it's tough. There's no other way to put it. It just gets tough. You know, and you want to make sure, you want to feel that way. You'll know for sure, okay, I'm really working out hard. You know, that's the goal, kind of. So, next superset we had here was the rope cable pullover. I usually do this with an easy bar, especially in the workout routine I had designed, but I had to change it on that certain day because someone was using the easy bar, so it was all cool. I just used the rope instead, and we supersetted that with some rear delt cable flies. So the rep ranges in sets for both was 4 to 10 reps for both, and no certain tempo, just a standard tempo. Now I couldn't use the cable, the rear delts. I couldn't use that because someone ended up taking it. So what I did was I used the pec deck. I faced the other way, facing the pec deck, and I just did rear delts that way. So, which is also very beneficial. You know, you could get a lot of muscle activation from doing it that way as well. So I couldn't superset them. Basically, I just had to do one at a time after we did the first superset. So yeah, I mean, that was it. I mean, this back workout's more, um, I would say definitely more lat focused than it is upper back focused. So if you're really trying to focus on your lats, try to do these exercises. Other than the rear delt flies, that might engage your upper back a little bit, but you could exclude that if you want, especially if you have strong rear delts. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.